Hi guys, have I got a weird one for you today? This is without doubt the strangest thing that we've ever had happen to a sheep, and it was a first for our vet as well. I thought you'd like to see a little update on number 9, the poorly black ewe we saw in the shearing video. I'm going to start at the beginning really. So number 9 was born last spring as a twin. She didn't grow particularly well last year, so we ended up keeping her through the winter as a store ewe lamb with a couple of other lambs and a couple of older ewes to sell in the spring. They were kept in a field a few enclosures away from our ewes and ewe lambs that went in with the rams in the autumn, and I'm sure that the rams didn't get in there without us knowing. So there's no way she could have got pregnant. So fast forward to late spring this year, and we're approaching shearing time. Lambing's finished and the female sheep are all back together as one group on rotational grazing, and they all came in and got sheared. And our shearer told us that we had one that had a few maggots around her back legs. When we checked her over, she had what appeared to be a length of like umbilical cord sticking out of the back end of her. She had no udder or anything, and there was no sort of noticeable signs of being pregnant. But what had happened, the flies had been laying eggs on this sort of cord thing, and the maggots had tracked up the cord inside her. We removed the cord and flushed her through with saline solution, and she had some spray then for the maggots that were on her wool, and she went back out with the others again. After a couple of weeks grazing, I could see she still wasn't right, so we caught hold of her, and she had this really like smelly foul liquid coming out of her. So we brought her back in and flushed her through again, and we kind of assumed that she'd somehow got pregnant and the lamb was now dead inside her. I've never had that happen before, and well, actually I still haven't. Anyway, we spoke to the vet. The vet said the prognosis wasn't really very good in that situation, and to stick her on a course of antibiotics for a week and see what happened. So she had Sinulox for a week. I think it was on the 6th or 7th day I caught her and sort of flipped her over to have a proper look at her and see what we could see. And I could see on her abdomen, sort of more or less where her navel should be, was a split, like a hole, and inside that hole I could see black wool. We called the vet again and they came out to have a look. We converted the barn into a makeshift operating theatre. I just really wish we had recorded it so you could see, but there just wasn't time and we needed to concentrate and sort of be on the ball a little bit with it. The vet said the chances of surviving the surgery were about 10%. I felt if there was a chance, we ought to try really. So the vet opened up the hole a little bit further and pulled this sort of dead lamb kind of fetus thing out. A bit like a cesarean, I suppose. But the lamb wasn't in the uterus or anything. It was just sort of in the body cavity of number 9. So how did it get there? Very bizarre. She went on to more antibiotics and she started eating some hay and some leaves off some of the tree branches we had to cut. She'd eat ivy that Jessica was putting in for her. And we had a really hot spell of weather when we made our hay videos, and we had to keep her in really to sort of keep her away from the flies. But eventually, after a few weeks and a lot of care, we took the stitches out, and she's now gone back out with the rest of the sheep and is finally growing and putting a little bit of weight on. Economically, what we've done with her will never make sense in a million years. We'll end up selling her for less than the vet bill. The flock as a whole will sort of have to contribute to a vet bill, I suppose. But the question remained of where had this lamb come from? I got a call from the vet to see how she was doing and to tell us she'd spoken to a few other sheep specialist vets. The conclusion they came to was that while she had been in utero herself, she had absorbed another embryo, which had then carried on growing inside her parasitically, which resulted in her poor growth. At some point, obviously, something must have happened that's caused the cord to become detached and the fetus to die, and then her body had just sort of tried to eject it. It's just the oddest thing I have ever seen with a sheep. Really weird.